So prior to the start of the season, around the time actually when I started this channel back in November, I made a video on 5 bold predictions for the Bulls this season, and although some of them have been somewhat accurate, some were also not even close, like when I predicted Otto Porter would average over 16 points per game, because I honestly thought he would play some of his best basketball, given he was in a contract year and would be looking to prove his value for another big contract. I also had a bold prediction that Wendell Carter Jr. would be making an all-defensive team this season, and that's looking like a remote possibility at this point. So I guess you could say I was a bit too optimistic with some of these predictions, but that's why they're also bold predictions, right? They're meant to be a bit of a stretch and unlikely to happen, but also maybe not as surprising or that surprising if it did actually happen. So in today's video, I'm going to make 5 bold predictions for the second half of the Bulls season, and let's just hope I'm right on some of these. So what's going on, everyone? You're listening to Bull Central here. Hope you're all doing well. So this first bold prediction, and it's actually kind of staying true to one of my initial bold predictions, and that's that Lauri Markkanen will average over 20 points per game by the time the season ends. I know we've all been a little disappointed in Laurie and not being available to play, but I honestly do expect him to come out and have a strong second half. Granted, hopefully he returns right when the second half opens on Thursday, but at the time of this recording, there's still not been an update on Laurie's status. But I think what people fail to see is that Markkanen was playing some of his best basketball of his career in the short time that he played this season. He was shooting at a much more efficient rate than last year, 51% from the field, nearly 40% from 3. He's averaging 19 points per game, so over 20 points for the season isn't really that far off, so maybe this isn't that bold of a prediction, but because Laurie is going to be a restricted free agent in the offseason, he knows the Bulls front office, if they were not able to agree on an extension. This back half of the season is a chance for him to really show not only to the Bulls, but to the league as a whole what he's worth, because he is going to be free to receive offers from any team, and then the Bulls would need to match any offer that he receives in order to retain him. So the next few months, Laurie is really playing for his future here in terms of his overall long-term financial benefit. And as long as Markkanen stays healthy, which is a big if, I know, in a system like Billy Donovan's where he had been doing well and getting open looks, being aggressive and driving to the basket, I do think something like this is obtainable. But again, still a bold prediction since a lot of it depends on Laurie's health. Second bold prediction, the Bulls will finish the season above 500. Yes, I do think it's possible. Based on the way the Bulls have been playing in the past month or so, they've finally started to work well together, stringing together some wins, making adjustments to better close out games where they would have otherwise found a way to lose. Lavine has greatly improved his game and becoming not just an elite scorer, but also a playmaker, a leader on the court, and even he's improved his defense somewhat as well. You have Wendell, who is now back and healthy. Hopefully it stays that way. I don't expect Laurie to be out much longer since it's already been more than 4 weeks from the initial 2 to 4 weeks timeline when he first got injured. And then maybe, just maybe, Otto Porter will finally come back and give us some solid minutes off the bench. And all in all, I think the guys are finally starting to get used to Billy Donovan's system, breaking those bad habits they learned under Jim Boylen. And I see them improving even more in the back half of the season. Obviously, they need to improve against better teams in the league. The Bulls have not been successful in playing teams above 500. And of course, in order to finish with a record above 500, you need to start winning some of those games. But as it stands right now, the Bulls are only 2 games back below 500, and finishing out the season, even if it's just 1 game above 500, I do think that this is doable barring any major injuries as long as they can play consistently for the rest of the year. Third bold prediction, the Bulls will not make any trades prior to the trade deadline. Now this would be terrible if a trade actually came out shortly after recording this, but I think that that's very unlikely. So I've said this a few times on the channel. I don't anticipate the Bulls will be making any moves prior to the deadline, nor do I think they should. The only player they really should move, but they likely won't be able to, is Otto Porter. I do think it makes more sense to continue in sticking with this roster in this evaluation year, as Arturis has called it, not make any drastic shifts, and wait it out until the offseason when you'll have plenty of cap space and flexibility with a lot of player contracts that are going to be expiring. Obviously, it depends on what kind of trade gets thrown their way. You can't turn down a trade that is just too good to pass on, but really with where the Bulls are at and what they're trying to do and build for the future and in planning for this offseason, I don't expect any trades to happen before the deadline, even with all the speculation and trade rumors going around in the media. And I actually think the trade deadline will probably be pretty quiet across the league for the most part. Okay, fourth bold prediction. Coby White, at some point this season, will start coming off the bench. Now, I know Coby has been finally starting to play well the past few games, and it's good to see him get his confidence back up after going through that big slump. But it's just becoming more and more clear how much better and effective he is as a player when he's playing off the ball. And I know he's learning and trying to run the offense and being a better facilitator and running the point, but it's really not working, and we're already halfway through the season. Now, this isn't to say Coby is going to be seeing less minutes on the court. I think, he'll still be getting the same amount of playing time for the most part that he's seeing right now. What I think is going to happen is Billy Donovan will start off games with Satoransky playing the point, getting the team going with a player who is capable of running the offense. Coby would then come in for Sato after a few minutes, and Donovan would start having Lavine and White rotate between playing the one. So this enables not only Coby to play where he's most comfortable in playing off the ball, but also still get some exposure in learning how to run the offense, since the hope is that he would eventually get there. He would eventually be our starting point guard that is a great floor general. This also enables Lavine to play some point, which he actually has done a little this season as well before in his career, and Lavine is a decent playmaker when given that assignment. Coby would still get more minutes than Sato over the course of the game. It's almost like a Keith Bogans type situation from the 2011 Bulls, in which he started every game, but never played that many minutes and rarely closed out games. But this enables Donovan to rotate between a few players to play the point, and then not have all of that pressure sit with Coby on being our primary point guard and ball handler and playmaker. Like I said, this is a bold prediction that will happen at some point over the course of the season. I'm not saying that it's going to happen right when we get back into games starting on Thursday that Coby's going to be coming off the bench. No, not at all. And finally, my last bold prediction. Thaddeus Young will win the Sixth Man of the Year award, not just receive some votes for the award, but he will win the award at the ripe age of 32. If he continues to play at the level that he has been, which I expect him to, since I'm predicting that he will win it. I wouldn't even be shocked if Thaddeus actually even improves upon his play and brings those numbers up that he has right now even further. Now, obviously, he's competing against guys like Jordan Clarkson, Montrezl Harrell, who won it last year, maybe even Tyrese Halliburton. But no, it's a bold prediction for a reason, and so I'm going to be bold, and I'm saying that Thaddeus Young is going to win that award, especially if the Bulls start winning more consistently, and if he can even bring those numbers up a little bit more. Clarkson is really going to be the toughest competition to beat in this one, just because he's having a great season, and the Jazz also have the best record in the league, and records also play a factor into winning these types of awards. But Thaddeus putting up career highs in assists and field goal percentage. He has the best PER, the player efficiency rating, of his career at 20.7. He's never averaged more than 20 in a PR over the course of his career. He is just having an incredible year, a glue guy for this Bulls team, and doing it all off the bench. So, like I said, if the Bulls can start winning a bit more consistently, which I predict that they will, since my other bold prediction was that they would finish above 500, then yeah, I think Thaddeus is definitely going to be in the running for Sixth Man of the Year award. A quick bonus bold prediction, and this was actually one of the bold predictions I made in the first video before the season started, and I'm sticking to it, and that's that the Bulls will make the playoffs this year. Not just the play-in game, they will finish in the top 8 and will face another team in a 7-game series. I feel like this prediction isn't as bold as it used to be, just because the East is so close right now, and the playoff spots are really up for grabs at the moment, with just 3 games separating the 4th and 12th seed in the East. Anyway, those are my predictions for the rest of the season. What are some of your guys' bold predictions for the rest of the year? Leave it in the comments and I'll chime in with you guys as well. I may even just include some of the predictions in my hot takes video, which I do every Wednesday, if the prediction is just hot enough for it. Be sure to subscribe, guys, if you're a Bulls fan, as I post daily Bulls content. Thanks again for tuning in as always, and I will catch you in the next one.